Oh, I told Jess I would go live. I would share it from Facebook so
It
she
already
could see
shared.
it. Yeah. So.
It already did?
It did.
Let me do it.
Oh, okay.
I guess I had to be live. Hello, everyone. If you're on there, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yes, and let
Happy
us
New
know
Year.
that you can hear us and the sound is good, please.
Radio show, fully flavored with His word to strengthen, encourage, and motivate you to be and live the purpose He created you to be. Now, your host, author, Bible study teacher, and my sweet, salty sister in Christ, Miss Rochelle Burchett.
Well, where's it at? Happy New Year and welcome to the Salty Sister Radio Show. We are so glad to have you with us tune in tonight. We have got so much to talk about and so much going on and so excited to have you here. So tonight, before we kick everything off, I want to give a shout out for Randy and Shell Hunter, who have been our sponsors for an entire year. So thankful. We wouldn't be where we are without your sponsorship. We do appreciate that.
Took a chance on us two little blondes here.
And now we're looking for others to take chances on us. Right?
Yes.
So we want to offer the opportunity for you to be able to be a sponsor for the show. We've already had two people give us sponsorships, one for $150 and one for $50, and we're so appreciative that that's a whole month on the radio. It is $50 a week for the show, or $2,600 a year, and we've already provided a link into tonight's show. If you would like to donate $5, $10, $50, or whatever for our radio show, we would so be much appreciative of that too. Now, also one of our wonderful sponsors, Pam Parker at Spirit Strong Fitness. She has a workout place. If you really need a physical, emotional, whole workout,
spiritual,
it's
all in one.
You just got to go there. You got to go see Pam. But we've talked about all the things that it is an all women's gym. The equipment is designed for women, but the equipment is fitness level friendly, meaning just you can get strength and cardio, personalized workout to meet your needs. Physical therapy workout for those who may have to give your body some extra love, or pump it up strong for advanced fitness levels. And she is running a New Year special. So if you say that you hear this on the radio, you can buy 2 months gym membership and you can get a month free.
You know what? I've got to re-sign up because I'm not signed up. I just announced it on the radio, so I get that discount too, right?
Right. We'll give you that credit. So, again, the New Year special is to buy 2 months of gym membership and get a month free. And let me tell you something. This place has been a dream of Pam's. It's founded on Scripture. It's founded on Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And make sure that you mention that you heard it on the radio and go see Pam and sparkle, sparkle, sparkle. And that means sweat. But that's our lady way of saying that, right? Yeah.
That's our ladylike way.
Yes, our ladylike way.
We don't sweat. Grief share. Every Tuesday at Southside Free Will Baptist Church. That's at 6:30. If you can't catch it there, you can catch it at Calvary Church of God. That's at 6:30 on Thursdays. And they are getting ready to start a new session. Yes, I think it all starts over. It's all fresh. So if you miss Tuesday night at Southside, you can catch it Thursday night. Each lesson stands on its own. So if you can't come this week, don't worry. Come next week. But if you are struggling with grief, if you have someone that is struggling with grief, get there. Get them there, because it is a wonderful, wonderful thing. Holidays are hard. There's a lot of new things coming up. Get there. New year.
And even if you're not going through grief, active grief at the moment, it was really great to get in there and to be encouraged myself so that I can understand what other people are dealing with when they're going through deep grief too.
And what about PALS? Is that this week?
PALS is this week. Thank you for remembering. Tuesday night at
6:30.
You're doing better.
I'm growing up.
New year, right? PALS is parents of addicted loved ones. If you or you know someone that is the parent of an addicted loved one or a spouse, this is a free support group. It is faith-based. It is 9 sessions long. Ann Ratliff is also helping me with this. And boy, I wish I'd had a support group like this in the last 10, 12 years when I've been going through addiction with my son. But it's got some really great great lessons, and I've already learned a lot myself. So
no one should have to go through things alone.
Exactly.
They really shouldn't.
Yeah.
So I love that group. I love the Grief Share. I think a lot of great things going on in their area.
We do. And on the Salty Sister Bible Study group, if you don't know how to get there, let us tell you, we're going to be doing the 2023 Getting Back to the Beginning with God. And we're going to be pitching our tent in 52 different places. It's a journaling lesson. There'll be a lesson every Monday night, probably about 20 minutes or less. We may be drowning with Jonah, or camping under a broom tree with Elijah, or staying on holy ground with Moses.
Yes.
Or learning all about what it takes to watch your tongue like Miriam had to do, because we're going to be journeying with God to learn how that in those darkest, deepest places is when so much growth took place.
Right.
And we're excited to take this journey with you. We don't know where the exact journey is taking us. We're letting God move and lead us. So pack your bag lightly and join us every Monday night inside of the Salty Sister.
Let's go, sissies. Let's go.
Bible study group. So, and now we are on the last. We worked hard to get it finished before the end of the year. But what better way to start off the new year
with peace?
With peace. Talking about peace.
Mm.
And so the last beatitude is, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall inherit the earth. And I love what the definition of peace is. Yeah. It's without chaos, right, or without turmoil, or a calm state.
Yes.
How many doesn't want to utilize or have a year with peace?
Oh, in all the chaos.
In all the chaos.
In all of the chaos. And it's just everywhere. It's everywhere you look, everywhere you turn, everywhere you go. But there's a place.
Yes.
There's a place. And she'll teach us a great lesson on the wilderness.
Well,
there's a place in the wilderness.
There is a place. There is a place at that table. But,
that peace.
Yes. Here's the thing. We have to be really, really thinking about this, Cassie and Leah, is we can be a peacemaker or a peace taker.
Yeah.
And sometimes the enemy allows things in our life to cause us to take the peace of somebody else. But here's what I want to say. Jesus says that he gives us peace, not the peace of the world.
Exactly.
And if Jesus gives you something, you don't have a right to give it away.
That's right.
You've got to keep your peace, the peace he gave you. You can search this world over, do anything you want, but you will never be fulfilled with a peace until it comes from God.
Never. There's always that void. I have watched people who have served the Lord, who have been on fire for God, who have been in ministry, but they have fallen back. They've lost their first love, obviously.
Which is where we're going back
but
to.
They've lost their peace. And they've looked the world over. They've tried drugs. They've tried alcohol. They've tried women. Everything. Amazon shopping. But you know what? There's a void that can never be filled except by him, by Jesus Christ, and that peace that he gives. Oh, it does truly surpass all understanding.
It does.
When it all falls apart, when everything's cut loose and the water breaks loose, everything's happening.
And you're falling down the stairs.
You can just say, you know what? I just choose to keep my peace today.
Yeah, because this break that I've had, I had dreamed about it so long. That it's going to be this, and we're going to do this. And you all know that song that lady said, you wouldn't believe
what a day I've had.
You wouldn't believe the 2 weeks I've had. It has been, but here's
I wish they'd have just killed me.
But here's the thing, that the Lord gave me this. I get so emotional thinking about this. The peace that he was giving me through this whole time. And my word this year, I don't know if you've got your word yet, but my word is joy, and my weapon is going to be joy. But regardless of how things didn't go the way I wanted them to go, I just was going to be joyful in that moment. Yes. Because if I'm not, I'm going to give the enemy opportunity again, or a win. And I refuse to do that.
Right.
And so joy is good. You're going to hear me talk about that a lot, and you can remind me of it when I act like I don't have any. Yeah. But that's going to be my word.
I haven't really gotten my word yet. I haven't gotten it.
I can't wait.
And I know. And I know some of you are thinking, what are they talking about? Their word. It's the word that the Lord gives you. You'll get confirmation on it. You'll start seeing it
everywhere.
I've got my number, but I haven't got my word yet. But I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it.
Last year, mine was humility. Every time I looked at something, everything corresponded to the word humility. That was my word last year. And I learned a lot through that. Humility is basically strength under control, And this year, that word joy, and I started to think about, and then I come to church this morning, they're talking about how joy is your weapon.
Yeah.
That joy is really a weapon.
It is.
It fights against the enemy because he doesn't want you to be joyful. Sing a joyful noise unto the Lord. And even when you can do that when you don't feel like blankets.
Right.
What a weapon that is.
What a weapon.
Dangerous
What
weapon.
a way to give him a black eye.
Yes.
Sing.
Have you got your word yet, Silent Sister?
No, not yet.
Okay, so we'll be stay tuned for their word. If you have a word this year,
Type it.
yes, type it in the comments.
wanna hear
really
some of
want to
them.
hear what your word is, what word the Lord has given you,
And if you don't have one, pray. Ask the Lord to give you one.
and He will do that.
And He will do that.
He will do that. So tonight we're going to do our best to get through most of this because we're really praying strongly, thinking we may have the next series that we're going to be talking about. I think it's going to be real appropriate for the beginning of the year.
Yes.
But we were going to stay tuned to know more about that too.
And with the journey. We're starting a new
This
journey.
Yes.
And on
if
journeys,
you haven't
we
seen
have
this, you've got to see this. It's really awesome. And I also want to give a shout out to the young lady who created this. She has her own design artwork, and we can put that link in there as well. But you can, if you ever need any graphics made, she totally gets what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
She puts to paper what your mind is dreaming about. So
I mean, she even does the
she
little
does, yeah.
details, which I love. This little girl with her backpack and this little blanket she's got rolled up. It's leopard. I mean, I love it.
See, she knows as well,
I
does
love
she not?
it.
Okay, so what we're going to be talking about this
We're
week,
coming down the stretch.
Yes,
we're coming down the stretch to the last two.
And so the thing is, here we're going to talk about the tactics, seven tactics about becoming a peacemaker. And we're going to start with the first one, which says peacemakers have internal peace. Right? So God, it says in Romans 15:33 and 1 Thessalonians 5:23, Hebrews 13:20. Basically, it says God has peace in Himself within the Trinity. He is the God of peace. At no time has there ever been the slightest hint of tension or conflict between the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Unity.
And in Psalms it tells us when there's unity, that's where God will command the blessing.
Yes.
Gotta have the unity.
And my acronym for unity is you and I together yielding to one another.
Oh, that's great.
Unity. It's about yielding sometimes, and it's not always being right.
Yes.
But in order to be a peacemaker, we have got to have that internal peace.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
It all points back to the Word. It all points back to the God. How are we ever going to get that peace if we don't search and seek for it and receive what He has for us?
But I've often found we can be right sometimes and be miserable. Is it really that important?
That's true.
Some people just have to be right all the time. And I think you've got to learn as a peacemaker that's not what it's about. That's not what it's about. It is choosing that peace, which is so costly.
Yes.
Over everything.
Yeah.
Some things are just not worth losing your peace over.
You're right. And I always go back to this because, peace is one of my favorite things, especially when you put on the shoes of peace. And I'll talk about in the Roman soldiers' time when they had those big spikes, kind of like old golf cleats,
yes,
that they would put on, and that would help them keep their footing on the ground when they're fighting. But my favorite thing that I read was where that you could hear that army in that unified motion coming down the road far away because of that click, 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 click. And it literally said that it never stopped for anything in the road. Yeah. That peace was a moving force. Mm-hmm. Those shoes of peace kept moving through everything. They didn't stop for things. They kept moving through. And imagine the power in peace if we stop taking peace from other people, but most importantly, realizing how it lies inside ourselves. And you're right, how we cannot, even though we are right, we don't have to acknowledge us being right.
Exactly.
A lot of times I think if you walk away and just Exodus 14:14, right?
That's it.
The Lord shall fight for you if you remain silent, letting God just work on their heart and work on yours too. So the first step about being a peacemaker is you've got to have internal peace. You've got to have peace within yourself, peace between you and God.
I'm getting to my page. I'm going.
Are you ready? Okay, so the second one, if you're journaling this and writing this down, this is such a good way to lead into the year. Peacemakers don't stand on their rights. And I think you talked about that just a little bit. About not always having to be right. Right?
Yes. I'm sorry. I was reading and not focusing. Highlighted here, making peace does not mean avoiding conflict.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes we think that our meekness is weakness, but it's not. It's not. And the truth of the matter is, I don't think any of us, and I know, we were not created and put on this earth to straighten everything out.
No.
We're not.
Stop trying to figure it out.
Stop trying to figure it out. Stop trying to straighten it out. Sometimes it's best just to hold your peace. Give them that big smile. And if it makes them feel better to be right, let them be right.
Yes.
Because, I mean,
what's it matter at the end of the day?
what's it matter? What's it matter? Because if you allow that contention, that chaos to get into your spirit and steal your peace, who is really won and lost here? You.
Yeah.
You.
And I realized that I got you girls a little bit lost on this. So
Yeah.
so sorry.
I'm like,
those are two bonus things because I was doing the precursor of that. But you're right. Talking about this conflict.
I was like,
So-
where are we?
That's what I thought. But I thought it was just.
I thought you all were being
okay.
awful quiet.
As long
So-
as she knows where she's at.
That's dangerous, Cassie. So adding to what we've already talked about is to add this to your next tactic is deal with conflict early.
Yes. You got to, as old Barney Fife says, nip it in the bud. Because if you don't and you let it go, it just grows and grows and grows. Personally, I'm just going to say something personally. We've had a little issue personally. I'm not going to go into any details. Don't get nervous. I won't say anything bad.
I'm looking for the cutoff button.
But I have found if we had dealt with it much earlier, like immediately when it happened, it would not have hurt so many people. We would not have lost our joy. We would not, all of those things. But we didn't. We let it go way too long.
Right. And
People-
it festers.
And it festers. And it got worse. And it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And if we'd have just dealt with it in the beginning, deal with it early. Deal with it early.
Yes.
Nip it in the bud and take care of it.
Here's the thing too. Nobody really wants to deal with it, so you let it go.
Right.
Because nobody really wants to deal
Well,
with
we thought it would
conflict.
just work itself out.
Exactly.
We thought, a little time, it'll just work itself out. Well, it didn't. It got worse.
Yeah.
And it does. It does. But, I mean, as Christians, we've got to be able to be that peacemaker.
Yes.
Blessed are the peacemakers. The ultimate example of the peacemaker was Jesus Christ himself.
Yes.
That's what we have got to be. If we've got to be the one that steps up and says, hey, we got to fix this.
Yeah.
We got to do whatever we got to do. Be that person. Don't be the one that has to be right. Don't be the one that
No.
has to.
It's not worth it in the
That's
end.
right. Straighten it all out. Just love. That's what, that's what I have really hung on to. Love covers a multitude of everything. Hurt, disappointment, disagreements. Love covers all. Just
Yes,
love.
it does. I think about the tug of war game. Like, you're pulling and they're pulling. What would happen if you just gently just lay the rope down, not causing them to fall, but just walking away for that moment. But dealing with conflict early helps it not to get festered up. We think about it, stew on it,
We sure do.
and so the other person is too.
And the enemy,
Yes. Oh,
we give
loves
him
it.
so
Yeah.
much time
Yeah.
to work on our minds and feed us full of so many lies during that time. If we just go ahead, what are you looking for?
My water. It's
Oh,
okay.
I don't have one.
So
Well, I do have one. I mean, you can drink after me.
it's okay. Thank you.
And then, if it's something small and you don't deal with it, it just
It turns
grows
into
and
something bigger.
grows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So deal with conflict early. Add that to the list. Proverbs 17:14 says this: the beginning of strife is like letting out water. So quit before the quarrel breaks out.
Yeah.
Just put that K on your head. Is it going to be kingdom?
Is it going to be kingdom? At the
And
end of the
just let it
day,
go.
is it really going to matter?
Yeah.
Is it really
Are
going to
we-
make a difference to the kingdom of God?
And are we edifying or tearing down? We got
That's
to be
it.
careful what we're doing when we're talking about things. We got to be careful who that involves, and if God delivers you or blesses you or whatever maybe you're dealing with, we got to focus on those things.
Yes.
Then number 2 is
Number 3.
3. Sorry, practice restraint, especially with your
Your
tongue.
tongue.
And guess what I wrote down?
I
Exodus
did
14:14.
That's it.
Um,
Just silence.
Well, one thing that I thought was really good in there, it says, if God unloaded every wrong we have done on us, we would be devastated. So why do we do that to other people?
That's true.
You don't have a microphone.
Just put it in the
That's
middle.
I wonder if they can hear her.
Yeah. It's good.
So that's really good. And James 1:19 says, let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, and slow to anger. And sometimes I think if we are quick to hear and we slow ourselves down, we might hear more.
Yeah.
We might hear more because our brain is, I know how our brains work, but we're really ready to jump to the, I think if everybody could hear a conversation the three of us had, we've talked about 25 different things in about 30 seconds, and we end up back to the beginning.
My mom always says, just listen, Cassie. Just listen more, say less.
Yes.
And there's a lot to be said about that.
Did you ever have to write in school if you were talking about the wise old owl? Did you ever have to
I
write?
don't think I had to.
Oh, I had to. The wise old owl sat on an oak. The more he heard, the less he spoke. The less he spoke, the more he heard. Why can't I be like that wise old bird?
Oh,
Nobody ever had to do that.
No,
either.
no.
That was
never.
a long paragraph.
But I like
right?
that.
But it's true, you know.
I like that a lot.
So the next one is, and I love this because ironically it goes along with exactly what we're doing with our weekly devotions. Prepare for a long journey. Peace takes time. 1 Peter 3:11 says, seek peace and pursue it. So there's a difference. Like there's hide and seek. You don't hide from peace, you seek. And seeking, I thought was the hardest part because everybody hid better than I could find them. But thinking about pursuing something, because it says, surely goodness and mercy pursues us in Psalm 23. Thinking about pursuing peace. Are we actively going out seeking and searching and pursuing that peace to have in our life?
Yeah.
Or are we just sitting there, woe is me, waiting for
being the victim,
Yes.
playing the victim?
Well, and
I'm not saying I'm sorry.
Process. Peacemaking is a
Yeah.
process, not a one-time
That's
event.
right. That's right. Sometimes there are quick fixes to the problem. Sometimes it takes time.
Yes. It says that God has been relentless in pursuing peace with us. Peacemakers reflect his presence.
Thank God for that long suffering, right?
Yes.
Thank God for that love that covered a multitude.
You know, and if everybody that's listening tonight for one moment close their eyes for just a minute to think about when you hear the word peace, what do you see? What do you feel? Where do you find yourself? What is the temperature? What are all those things to resonate peace? And sometimes I think we have to have that place, like mine's the table, to go to the table to get the peace. The enemy's still going to be lurking around, but if you can get to that table or to your place or that secret place with you and him to get that peace, to get fueled with peace. Take a step toward peace is the next one. So that's hard because you were talking about how it's easy to just it'll work itself out.
Yeah,
and
that's what we think.
You're right. Sometimes things can work themselves out. But it says in Romans 12:20, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he is thirsty, give him something to drink. And that's hard.
That is
sometimes.
Hard. That is hard. But you look at Jesus, we always go back to that example. What the ultimate peacemaker, he was on the cross. Look at what they did to him. Yeah. Look at all the things that he went through, yet he still went anyways. He let them do whatever. They spat on him. They plucked his beard. They mocked him. They laughed at him. They pierced his side. They beat him with the cat of nine tails. All that he went through. And he said, just forgive them. Just forgive them, for they know not what they do.
They have no idea.
They have no idea.
The part right before that, I always talk about this, is in that garden when his, sweat turned to drops of blood because he asked God three times. If this cup, he knew what was about to take place. I mean, he knew the agony. He knew, and it was getting more real at that moment to think that he didn't pass the cup.
That's right. He didn't. He went all the way. I love, I love numbers. But it says he could call 12 legions of angels. When you do the math on that, I've done the math actually. I've got it on my notes. When you do the math on that, 12 legions of angels. One legion is 6,000 angels. 6,000 times 12 equals 72,000. In Isaiah 37 and 36, it says one angel, just one angel, can destroy 185,000. When you times all of that out, he could have called those 12 legions of angels. He could have wiped this whole world out.
Yes,
he could have said, you know what? I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm done. Wipe them out. We'll start over. But he didn't do that.
When we've had enough, we just push the button and blow it up. Right?
Done.
Start
Throw
over.
the towel in. I quit. I'm done. It's over.
But
he didn't. He went all the way. He went all the way to show us the greatest example of peace and love.
What he did was so much greater than we'll ever experience.
Yes.
But at the same time, if we can think about what all he done for us, how can we not extend that peace and that long suffering to others?
Thing to others.
Because we'll never be enduring that at that moment. So we'll move on to the next one.
I love the thing too in this part right here on 5, where it talks about that the Cuban Missile Crisis. in the moment that the world was on the brink of a nuclear holocaust in 1962. The great question at the heart of the Cuban Missile Crisis was simple. What could be done to begin a process of de-escalation?
That's good.
That's what we've got to do. That's what
Yeah.
we've got to do. What could be done? They were standing there at the brink of wiping everything out, but they did what they had to do to de-escalate it, to resolve it, to fix it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need to be the bigger person. You just need to be the peacemaker. If you are the son and the daughter of the Most High King,
Yeah.
you can do that.
Yes, we're
You
called
can
to be
do that.
peacemakers. Yes,
That's right.
So your title is trust to God the injustice you've suffered. That's part 5 there that you've written, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So thinking about in 1 Peter 2:19, this is a gracious thing when mindful of God, one endures sorrows while suffering unjustly. It's 1 Peter 2:9. Thinking about trust God to fix it for you. You don't have to be the one going in to fix it.
No, he will fight every battle for you.
If you remain silent.
If you remain silent and quit trying to fix it yourself. And it even says, people are like, well, I'm telling you, I'm not feeding that enemy, or whoever your enemy is, I'm not feeding them, I'm not doing this. But it says when you do that, he will heap coals of fire upon their head. God will take care of your enemy. There is not one thing that goes undone that he doesn't see. If he knows every sparrow that falls from the sky, if he knows every hair, even though I've had my hair cut and I don't have many, but if he knows every hair on your head and they're all numbered, do you not think he knows when someone does something wrong to you? Do you not think he knows when you are right, when they are wrong? But you know what? Blessed are they that are the peacemakers, for they are the son and the daughter. Are we sons and daughters? If we are, then we've got to have that fruit. We've got to be the peacemaker.
We have to.
We have to.
And people will model that peace from us. People are watching us, how we're dealing with these crisis situations, or how when someone does us wrong, people are waiting.
I love the analogy. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. People have got to look at us and say, you know what? She doesn't get upset. She just wants to stay in peace. Yeah. It's not that I can't come out with some big slur, big ugly words. I mean, we all got them.
Yeah.
But when we remain silent, when we Exodus 14:14, that's when we're truly showing that we are the son and the daughter of Christ.
Yes.
Because we are modeling him. We are like him. We're like our Father.
Yeah, we are. And I think if you could, for one moment when you're going through that, going back to that picture on the cross, if you can think about you're wanting to just blow up. Yeah. But that one moment thinking about what God did and what little moment that we have in time to make such a tremendous difference, to offer that peace.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. He's going to deal with it anyway. If you have a personal relationship with him, you know where you're going. That is the most important thing. And then realizing that sometimes it's not the person, it's what's got a hold of the person at that time.
And operating through them.
And that's what we're fighting. And indeed what we're shooting, actually arrows, what we think we're trying to do to hit the enemy. The enemy will always move. We always end up hitting the person.
That's right.
And hurting that person.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We didn't get finished with all this.
How many more left? I think that's it, wasn't it?
Was that it?
Yeah, trust God to the injustice you've suffered. Do you have another one?
Oh, no. I guess that is it.
So, voila.
Yes. Quick examples of peacemakers that you can think about is Moses.
Yes.
Think about Moses, how he interceded on those children of Israel when God was ready to destroy them. And he said, no, don't. He interceded. Think about him. Think about Joseph. Think about David. What peacemakers they really were.
Genesis 50:20, when Joseph said to his brothers, what you meant for evil, God will turn it for good. Yes, so think about those things. Think about the end result. When you offer that peace, when you do that, think about the end result, what's going to come from that.
And when you allow the enemy, brothers probably thought, well, what is he going to do to us?
Yeah.
I mean,
rightly
so, I'm sure he wanted
that's
to,
it. And we've got to remember, when we allow the enemy to steal that peace, what we're doing is giving up our destiny.
Yeah.
It can keep us from getting to where God is trying to get us to. Remember, we are on a journey. We're on a journey. Don't let the enemy have your peace.
Amen. And that's a wrap, ladies. So first one of the year, happy New Year to you. And remember, if you have the opportunity and would like to come alongside us, there is a link in the comments to be able to help sponsor the radio show. And until next week,
stay salty.